Yo, what's up, guys? Kojo Akusa again, back again with another video. Today, I want to discuss something which is on the minds of a lot of up and coming artists. Well, maybe not now as much as before. And the question is, should you be signed to a label or should you start your own label? Should you get a record deal or should you go independent? Um, I sometimes get people coming to me and sending messages and saying, Kojo, I want to be under you, I want to be signed under a label. And I'm like, why? you know, because I feel like that in this day and age, it's become so easy to to start your own thing, to get out there, to get your music out there, to create music, to promote yourself. With social media, the internet, so easy, so simple. So I'm kind of like um, asking myself like, why do people still want to be signed? But the thing is, people do still think about that, and they want to know whether there's a benefit in being signed or a benefit in being independent. Well, okay, I'm gonna discuss that. um, well, I think in order to us to answer the question, I would ask, why do you want to do it in the first place? Why are you doing music in the first place? Is it for fun? Is it for money? Is it for fame? And that will give you an idea of um, for like the reason why you would want to be signed or to go independent. There are advantages and disadvantages to each choice. For instance, being signed means that you join an organization or an established brand, hopefully, that they already have the network, they have the resources, they've got access to local and national radio stations, international platforms. So being signed to that label gives you like a huge platform. You could blow up really quickly. You could become like very successful like very quickly if you play your cards right. But the disadvantage is that some of these record label deals can be very dodgy. Those contracts can be very dodgy. You can end up being stuck in a very bad deal where you can't get out without destroying your career. That's the problem with these record deals. There's a lot of people who have been screwed. There's a lot of stories of artists who got really bad deals. And if you want to get a record deal, you need to have a lawyer, someone who understands music law, understands these kind of contracts, so that you don't get screwed, because that can really happen. So you have to be really careful. Sometimes they can attract you with a lot of money. You can get like a huge advance at the beginning. They can offer you like 100,000 rand, and then you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. But not knowing that they're going to lock you into a contract for several years, and expect you to produce several albums, right? And that money they might never recoup it, right? So in other words, you literally become an employee, and in the worst case scenario, you're actually a slave. I mean, ask who can I use as an example. Okay, I can't think of anyone now, but I'm sure some people who have gotten some really bad deals. Being signed to record labels, right? So the thing about also being independent, right, is everything is on you. Basically, you start your own label, you register the company. Everything's on you. The costs, the cost of getting vocalists, the cost of studios, the cost of getting music onto radio. Um, everything is on you. Basically, it's up to you to get the network, to go out there and network, go out there and push the music. Um, so you might not have the resources, might not have the money as a big established record label. Yeah. So I personally have both been signed and I've also been independent. Those of you who know me, who've been following me for a while, would know that I was signed with Pen Africa some years ago, I think around 2011. And for me, that was, it's kind of like it's what helped me to blow up, in the underground scene. People got to know me because I was attached to this budding record label that had a lot of hype at the time. And that's Andy Compton's record label, right? I will tell a story of how I met Andy Compton in a future video. Yeah, so that really kind of opened doors for me. I got to have a much bigger, wider platform. A lot more people knew about me then. I got to meet other really good producers, talented guys. I met some good vocalists. I got to remix some really good tracks. Yeah, so that really pushed me forward. That's the nice thing about being signed, because you get associated with an already established brand, and that really can catapult you, to a much higher level, right? So um, that's a good advantage of being signed, right? So not long after that, I had a brand which um, was already there from some years before, right? So that's when me and some friends decided to turn the Beat Rebels movement into a record label, right? So that's my first experience of being independent, right? But um, I got to learn that it's not very easy. It's very tough. It's very, very tough to be an independent record label owner. If you are serious about the business, you need to understand the business of music. You need to know a lot of things. You need to know about you know your contracts. You need to know about marketing and all these other things, about launches, about albums, what it takes and how much money it takes to release an album. I mean, there's a lot of money and cost and time and effort involved in releasing an album, right? So when you're signed, usually the record label handles all those things. You don't have to worry about the money that to 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 get artists and so on, to get a vocalist, right? So that's the thing about being signed, right? A lot of these things are taken care of. All you have to do is just produce music, you just create music. But when it comes to own your own label, then you need to do everything yourself, basically, or you have to like come up to get your own team, right? So that's the thing about being the difference between being signed, and the difference between signed and having your own record label, being independent, right? But in my personal opinion, in this day and age, I don't think it's necessary to sign, to get signed, right, to get a record deal, unless you are in the mainstream. You see, you're into a mainstream genre like hip hop, or pop or something like that, right? But when it comes to house music is it's a relatively small industry, right? So um, the advantage that being signed gets you is association, right? Being associated with an already established brand, right? So they're going to help you, to push you forward, to put you out there, right? So that um, you have access to a much wider audience, and maybe they will also help you as well to release your albums, get you out there, get you on radio stations, get your stuff published much quicker and much easier than if you were to do it yourself, right? But um, it's you kind of like have to find out, think for yourself, like, what are you willing to sacrifice? You sometimes you have to sacrifice your creative freedom, when you're signed, right? But when you're independent, you can do whatever you like, right? um, and there's so many resources out there which are available for you to just put your own stuff out there. There's Bandcamp, there's if you want to go the more traditional route, you can go for your online distributors like Labelworks and CD Baby and so on, that will put your music all over the net, right, in different music stores, right? So um, I think there isn't really, I wouldn't say one is better than the other. At the end of the day, it's has to do with what do you want, and what do you want to achieve at the end of the day. How far do you want to go? What is your motive for being in the music industry at the first time, in the first place? So I think um, there was a time when when I got signed. Those days there was so much hype, about house music and deep house and soulful house, right? That um, we people kind of got like big heads. There were producers who are not really that well known, even as much as the same as me, who would, like, let's say, okay, let me give you an example. A producer who doesn't really have that much uh, a platform, right, signs another producer, or a DJ signs another DJ. DJs were signing other DJs, right? And they like nothing really came of that because they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the platform. So it was just this ego thing of, oh, I'm signing artists, right? But they were not doing anything for, you would get signed under a label and they would not do anything for you because they themselves are just hustling and they're just kind of struggling themselves, right? And they're just the same as you. But you just have this ego thing of, oh, I got signed to a label, I'm signed, I've got a record deal, right? So you need to really think about what you're gaining from being signed, right? How are you benefiting from that, and at the end of the day, it's a two-way street. um, People usually approach me and say they want to be signed under me. um, I feel like it's kind of like a selfish request because they don't even know what it takes. They don't even send any demos, right? So I think it's important for you to kind of like um, uh, educate yourself, on how to approach labels and know the specific label, what kind of music they are, or what quality of work they're looking for, right? Send them your demos, contact the A&R, and meet them also at the events and so on, where these people hang out. And I think and that's how you have a much better chance of finding a proper label, right? That's if you're good enough. If they do sign you, if they do invest in you like they say they would, then maybe you'll be successful, right? But sometimes um, they don't really invest in you, right? But then the opportunity is still there for you to use their network to get much further in your career, right? So I think those are things that you need to think about, right? Think about, what is my goal? Where do I want to go? Where And what reason do I have to be signed, or what reason do I have to be independent? You have to really think about it, right? Well, I personally think in this day and age, it's better to just go at it on your own, and also connect with those other the bigger labels, right? Because um, there's opportunity to also license your music to them. They don't own your music, but you can license it to them, and then you get to use still access their platform, but the music still belongs to you, right? And one can go I can go into much more detail into that, but maybe in a future video. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's just like a small short um, well, my own opinion on whether you should be signed, and or whether you should go independent. So the question is, should you be signed, or should you go independent? Well, that's up to you. At the end of the day, what are you willing to sacrifice? Um, I say go independent, but then at the end of the day, you need to put in the work. You need to put in the effort, right? And it's all up to you at the end of the day. Hey, thank you for coming all the way and watching all this way. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.